The Move New Year's Eve concert presents for this year Tye Tribbett. This prestigious event is going to be held at Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta, Georgia, 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve night 2012. Tye Tribbett, the father, the husband, the preacher, and recording artist will be performing that night as our headline main event. Tye and GA broke into popular mainstream with a group of performances on the inspirational The Prince of Egypt movie soundtrack. Over the years, Tye has performed and graced the stage with names like Justin Timberlake, Jill Scott, Luther Vandross, Tim McGraw, and Faith Hill, to name a few. In 2004, Tye Tribbett and GA brought us Life, their debut album, which was followed by Victory Live in 2006, a Billboard Top Gospel album charted at #1, a two-time Stellar Award winner and Grammy nominated, followed by the also nominated and Billboard charted #1 album, Stand Out. In 2010, Tye Tribbett and GA brought us Fresh, where he continues to bring us revolutionary gospel music. Tye Tribbett continues to be relevant, creative, and contemporary as an artist. This prestigious event at the GWCC will be taped in front of a live audience in Hall C3, which seats a capacity of over 10,000 people. This event will be historic as we bring in the new year and honor the memories and the life of Atlanta's most impactful African American, Dr. Martin Luther King. The pre-show itinerary will begin at 6 p.m. on the 30th as Tye Tribbett and his entourage leave the International Airport in New Jersey and will arrive in Atlanta at 8 p.m. At 8:30, they'll be picked up and transported to the hotel where they'll be staying, and they should arrive at the Atlanta Hilton Hotel at 9 p.m. Between 10 and 10:45, refreshments will be served, and there will be a briefing between 10 and 10:15 as to the events that will occur the next day. On the 31st, starting at 7:30 in the morning, a light breakfast will be served. Between 9 and 11:30, Tye Tribbett and his group will have access to a meeting room at the hotel site for meetings and practice. At 11:45, a shuttle will be leaving the hotel to the concert site, and which will be followed by lunch at 12:15 and a briefing at 1:15. At 2:00 p.m., Tye will be shuttled back to the hotel for rest and preparation. At 2, the band and group will use that time to set up their equipment at the concert site. At 3:00, the band and group will be shuttled back to the hotel for their rest and preparation. And at 5:15, the shuttle will be leaving the hotel to the concert site for sound check. Final sound check for Tye and his group will begin promptly at 5:30 p.m. The doors will open at 6:30, and Tye will take the stage at 8:00. Immediately following the show at 9:15, a select group of guests will be taken backstage for a meeting and greeting with Tye Tribbett and the group. At 9:45, the group will return back to the hotel and refreshments will be served or available for them from 9:45 until midnight that day. On New Year's Day at 7 a.m., there will be breakfast served only until 8:30 a.m. And at 8:45, there will be a shuttle for Tye Tribbett and his group back to the Atlanta airport. The flight will leave at 10:30 and they will arrive Jersey at 12:30 p.m. As for the budget, this is just an example of some of the expenses that will be associated with this event and the revenue that we expect from it as well. As for the expenses, after venue, paying the artist, travel, food, hospitality, crew staff, equipment rentals, advertising, we expect to spend at least $70,000. As for the revenue, with just selling 70% of the available seats, we would revenue $140,000, and we believe $20,000 in merchandise sales. That's a total potential revenue of $160,000 based on those numbers. The potential profit for that would be $79,900 based on the numbers beforehand. If we paid 25% to investors, that would be a final profit of $59,925. Like associated with any event, there's always risk management involved. The first one would be lower ticket sales than $5,000. But we believe that aggressive advertising, sales, and marketing will help us make sure that we well exceed 5,000 tickets sold on that day. Discounts and group sales will help us sell all the extra seats. The second risk that we face is under budgeting our expenses. Well, we do have a backup plan in place. We've already been pre-approved for a loan for $50,000 for any expenses that come up that we just hadn't been prepared for. The full details for the backstage rider is enclosed in the executive itinerary. However, to touch on a few of the major points, for the dressing room for Ty and GA, hot tea and light snacks is required, no heavy food in the dressing room. As for the hotel, the request is a 4-star hotel rated minimum, and for Ty, he will need a king-size bed for his room as his wife will accompany him. The flights will be first class, accommodations for Ty and his wife, and the stage setup and equipment is detailed in the itinerary. As for the learning experience for this particular project, there was a lot of things that were revealed to me during my research. The first thing is that there's a lot of capital needed to promoting events. Paying for artists, if they carry an honorarium, it's a lot of money. Most of the time it's 5 figures at least for an honorarium, and then a lot of times you have to add on a percentage of the sales along with that. So there's a lot of money involved and a lot of capital needed to do things ethically. I also think that creative advertising is going to be needed, because if you want to maximize your money, you need to sell out or get as close to selling out all your seats as possible. And in some cases, for some artists and for some venues and some promoters, we'll take some creative advertising, some creative marketing, maybe even some discount ideas for group discounts or something like that to get the seats sold out, so you can maximize the amount of money you can make on an event like this. Backstage riders are very important because a lot of times those backstage riders are exactly what the artist needs to make sure that they can do their job properly and effectively. Some of it may be mental preparation, some of it may be physical preparation. But a lot of that is needed so that you can so that you can give your audience the best show possible. And lastly, there's great potential for profit in promoting events. On this particular project alone, I looked at having a possible profit of, after everything is said and done, $39,000. But I didn't even max out my seats. I didn't even talk about DVD sales. I just said some merchandise. And so when I started getting down into that, that profit on that event could be well into the six figures. So there's great potential for profit in promoting events, especially if a very well-known secular artist. It can go way beyond six figures. It can go into seven figures. And that is the conclusion of my project.